They told you that to be human is to care, to open your heart, to show your feelings. They told you that vulnerability is noble, that being emotional makes you real, that caring is the ultimate sign of strength. But what they didn't tell you is that this is the very script written to keep you weak, to keep you soft, to keep you controlled. Because here's the brutal truth. The man who cares too much becomes a slave to everyone who cares less. Caring is not strength. Caring is exposure. And exposure is the knife your enemies stab you with. Niccolò Machiavelli, the most ruthless political thinker in history, understood this long before Instagram therapists started selling you emotional openness as the cure to all problems. He knew the truth no one dares say out loud. Power doesn't belong to the man who wears his emotions on his sleeve. Power belongs to the man who controls his emotions like a weapon. And that's what today is about. Not how to be liked, not how to be understood, but how to master the cold art of not caring, how to become emotionless in a world addicted to emotional manipulation. Because if you don't learn this, you'll be used. If you don't learn this, you'll bleed. If you don't learn this, you'll never rise. So listen closely. By the end of this, you'll have a blueprint, Machiavelli's guide to cutting your emotions down until you're unreadable, untouchable, and unforgettable. 1. The trap of caring too much. Let me start with a story. A man walks into a negotiation. He's nervous. He wants approval. He wants to be liked. He shows his hand, smiling too much, over-explaining, trying to prove he's trustworthy. The other man, silent, expressionless. He doesn't reveal a single thought. He lets the silence stretch until the nervous man talks himself into a corner. Guess who wins? This isn't fiction. This is life. The man who cares loses. The man who doesn't controls. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise ruler ought not to keep faith when by doing so it would be against his interests." Translation, if you're tied to emotion, you're predictable. If you're predictable, you're weak. And weakness, my friend, gets exploited every time. 2. Predictability is death. Think about it. The people around you already know your buttons. They know what insults make you rage. They know what compliments make you melt. They know exactly how to bait you because you've shown them. Every sigh, every overreaction, every desperate text, every apology you didn't owe, all of it was data. Data that others now use to control you. That's why Machiavelli said, "Men are so simple and so much creatures of circumstance that the deceiver will always find someone ready to be deceived." Caring makes you simple. Caring makes you readable. And once you're readable, you're done. If you want to be dangerous, you must learn the first law of the cold art. Become unpredictable by becoming indifferent. When they insult you, you don't react. When they flatter you, you don't melt. When they bait you, you don't bite. Your silence becomes your power. 3. Emotional investment is the enemy. The more you invest emotionally, the easier you are to manipulate. That's why people rush to get you attached. Why they overshare early. Why they love bomb. Why they try to pull feelings out of you fast. Not because they care, but because they know. And once your emotions are on the table, your logic dies. And once logic dies, you're theirs. This is how weak men get played by women, by bosses, by friends, by enemies. They think emotion means connection. It doesn't. It means vulnerability. Machiavelli warned, "He who builds on the people, builds on mud." In today's language, if you build your stability on emotions, you'll sink every time. Always detach. 4. The power of strategic indifference. There's a difference between being numb and being strategic. Numbness is weakness. It means you're too broken to feel. Indifference, that's power. It means you feel, but you don't flinch. This is the second law of the cold art. Your emotions are yours alone, not currency for others to exploit. When someone disrespects you, you don't chase explanations. When someone tries to guilt you, you don't defend yourself. When someone tries to provoke you, you don't react. You just take away the one thing they wanted most, your emotional presence. And that absence, that silence, that's the deadliest weapon you'll ever carry. 5. How to detach without going insane. Let's get practical. How do you detach without turning into a stone? Observe your triggers. Every time someone pisses you off, don't react, just watch. Collect data like a hunter tracking prey. Interrupt the story. Your mind will start spinning lies. They ignored me because I'm not enough. Cut it. Replace it with noted. Moving on. Disappear without guilt. If someone disrespects you, don't announce your exit. Don't argue. Don't explain. Leave. The silence will hurt them more than any speech. Mission over emotion. If the situation doesn't serve your goals, it dies. End of story. Detachment doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you refuse to be ruled by what you feel. That's the difference between a victim and a weapon. 6. Emotionlessness is power in social warfare. Every room you walk into is a battlefield. People size you up instantly, not by your clothes, not by your words, but by your reactions. Do you flinch when challenged? Do you over-explain when questioned? Do you get loud when disrespected? If yes, you've already lost. Because here's the truth. In social warfare, the calmest man always wins. Machiavelli said that for a ruler, being feared is more effective and secure than being loved when you have to choose. That fear doesn't come from violence. It comes from stillness, from being unreadable, from being the one man in the room who doesn't need anyone's approval. When they insult you and you smile, you win. When they ignore you and you don't blink, you win. When they try to provoke you and you answer with silence, you crush them. Not because of what you did, but because of what you didn't do. 7. Guard your energy like a fortress. Coldness isn't just about ignoring drama. It's about protecting your most sacred assets: time, attention, and energy. Every time you argue with someone who isn't worth it, you lose energy. Every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't listen, you lose time. Every time you let someone get under your skin, you lose focus. And focus is life. Machiavelli knew this. That's why he never wasted words on fools. He didn't try to convince the unworthy. He conserved his energy like a fortress. Learn this rule. What you give emotion to, you empower. So stop empowering the wrong people. Stop empowering nonsense. Protect your fortress. 8. The Psychology of Coldness. Here's the paradox. The less you care, the more they chase. The moment you stop reacting, people become obsessed with getting a reaction out of you. The moment you go silent, they get loud. The moment you vanish, they panic. Why? Because uncertainty breeds addiction. Your coldness creates a vacuum, and people can't stand vacuums. They'll fill it with overthinking, regret, and obsession. That's why the man who cares less always controls more. 9. From emotion to empire. This is the final law of the cold art. Master your emotions and you master the game. The man who can't control his emotions will always be a servant to women, to bosses, to society. But the man who can sit in silence, who can walk away without guilt, who can remain calm in storms, that man rules. You don't owe anyone your feelings. You don't owe anyone explanations. You owe yourself power. So let them call you cold. Let them say you've changed. Let them misunderstand you. That's fine. That's the price of evolution, because you're no longer playing for approval. You're playing for empire. Say it now and burn it into your mind. My silence is my weapon. If it drains me, it doesn't deserve me. Emotion doesn't rule me. I rule everything. This is not motivation. This is war, and the battlefield is inside you. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, let me know by writing emotionless in the comments. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.